BrainStain.
All right, well, anyway, we've been getting a bunch of emails, fan requests talking about if you guys are ever going to do a part 2 for robots, and we're finally going to do it, guys. It's been a while. We've been pretty busy, but...
Yeah, sorry, we can't respond to all your guys' emails, but we do read them, so,
thanks
just go ahead and send them anyway.
We
here
always
it is.
appreciate all the love, the huge amounts of love we get all the time.
I know.
But yeah, so here we are, robots.
Yeah, robots.
Part 2, deuce.
Yep.
They're just coming sooner and sooner every day,
Every day. Carl's Jr. already was talking about replacing humans with just automated food making.
Which that's kind of a...
So that's the smallest side of robotics, and it's going to get bigger.
And it's what's kind of weird about that is it's actually really not very, very much not new. There's these things in Europe called automats, and basically what Carl's Jr. is doing is just analogous to that. And all it is for the most part removing the interaction between people and the employees and having them like cash out their own stuff.
Was my understanding of Carl's Jr.'s process wrong? Are there still going to be employees in the back making food, but there's no human interaction for the teller?
Yeah.
The
So
teller
a robot
part?
gives you the food.
Well, no, okay, so at least if it's anything like the ones if the final implementation is like the way they exist in Europe. You go into this place which has like a wall. I saw pictures of them that reminds you of like a frozen yogurt place where you feel your frozen,
Right.
except there's cubby spaces, and you open it up and there's food in it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, cafeteria-ish feeling.
Weird.
But you see, when you're talking about fast food, it's just it's that thing kind of on crack. It's the same.
Right.
It's not like better than cafeteria food.
So it's not machines
better.
making my food?
Yeah, so exactly. So there's still humans making your food?
I mean, I think maybe that might be where Carl's Jr. is taking more steps ahead, is that they've removed even more people, because the automats in Europe, they're just a removal of the kitchen. They kind of, they put it in the back. But because of that, there's less people that really need to be involved.
Sure.
Yeah, but how do they know when your hamburger's ready?
Yeah,
I don't know. They do it. Whatever.
They do it so you can't complain.
They're Europeans. They probably text message everything or something.
Through WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I love that app.
and then we find out about it 4 years later.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this.
But if it is all automated in the back. But that's kind of cool. I'm kind of excited about that. It's also like I hope that you don't lose out on any of the customization that you get with a person. You can ask for a burger and you can ask for a specific way.
I feel like it would be through a tray, not a tray.
A touchpad?
No. The belts.
A conveyor belt?
Yeah, conveyor belt. Yeah, and and it would cook the meat, obviously, and it would come out perfectly. It just knows through time,
Or pneumatic cannon, just fires the food out of you with air pressure. Yeah. You catch it, you have to go long.
And then you just press buttons, and through the belt, the conveyor belt, it just knows what to put on, like no pickles, so it skips the pickles, and then it just keeps going.
And there's certain things fast food restaurants don't really customize, right? Like, I've never asked for this before, but you can't ask for a burger like well done or like rare, right? You have to get it. They just do it their way.
Fast food. Yeah, not fast food.
This is just how it is.
You're getting what you're getting.
Yeah.
Like we burn that shit to sterilize it for your safety and ours.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Do not sue us.
Yeah.
For the safety of everyone in this restaurant. Yeah. But I think it represents more of a coming of age for society. Just we're being more and more okay with this idea of being served by an automatic system. Some people do have some reserves to you're getting rid of all the employees, but I think even more people kind of have this feeling of finally, or I don't know. It's this weird mixture of why
weird.
When you're in these places, some of these restaurants, you do get that feeling of just why is this person paid to do this?
I do, and I totally agree with you. Of course, it's going to be weird though, because these are jobs that kids used to have. First, like it used to make everybody kind of as a kid.
And now adults,
and now it's adults who are working there.
That rely on them.
And then eventually it's going to be robots, and then it's like, well, where are the kids and those other people are? Where are they working now? So it's going to be interesting, and hopefully society can catch up to this kind of growth in robotic jobs, because I do think it's obviously Carl's Jr. is just like a small portion of it. Obviously,
yeah,
it's getting bigger and bigger.
And what's crazy is that Carl's Jr. is just going to make more and more money because all you do is you pay the fee of the robot once. You know, there's no increase in wages. There's no promotions. There's nothing. It's just the robot.
The work all night without a single complaint.
You pay like maybe I don't know 20,000 or I don't know, just
never
throwing a number, and that's it. That's it. Just a flat rate. Never again. No increase. I guess.
Well, to be fair, no, you do. You have to hire an engineer. You have to maintain it, but that doesn't.
That's one person.
It's still a huge savings. Yeah.
You know, I mean, imagine a staff. You have a supervisor or manager,
exactly.
then you have the the floor, the blah blah blah.
Yeah,
there's so much down the chain replaced by two. Technically,
you probably have just like two on-site people and then one advanced mechanic that gets called out whenever there's actual real problems.
Absolutely.
That just drives over there and fixes the problem, and you can have a tiny little team manage a whole city of McDonald's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's crazy because like so few people can run so much eventually once these robots are able to do more complex.
And I think though we're outpacing the benefit of that, like because what you're saying has always been true to a certain degree, and so it's always been welcomed. This idea of this technology will let me do the work of 3 people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's always been a great thing. But I think now what we're running into is the very very fast. Single person doing the work of hundreds of people.
Like we're too efficient.
It's going too
for our
far,
own
too fast.
well-being.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And you were saying that now, like a lot of people right now are, like people are actually doing multiple jobs as one person, and it really helps businesses that they only need to hire one person and they can actually do a wide range of things. Whether it's like now a lot of people are learning like Photoshop or learning how to market through all these websites and know. The internet, so you can actually hire just one person and get a pretty vast.
The jack of all trades is coming back in terms of like
because tools can do so much for you.
Like
the tools can help so much.
We're taking a swing away from specialization and back into generalization, and I guess it'll keep swinging around a bit. But this robot thing is gonna blow up the whole scene eventually.
There's only a very few, I think, jobs left that being a specialist is actually to your advantage in medical,
medical for sure.
Medical for sure. It's like, no, dude, this is all I've put my life, into learning about the brain or the heart or whatever it is. But as a business side, you really got to know everything to survive or even be, looked at like when applying, for a job. People just want that out of you. They want to see, like you're saying, the jack of all trades. Even if they might not use it all, they want to know at least it's there.
Yeah, no, there is. I mean, there's a lot of jobs for both sides. I think still, actually, I think there's still plenty of specialist areas that the robots aren't going to be able to, take.
And it's not all going to happen all at once, too. I think it's going to be a weird. There's obvious stuff like, say, a FedEx driver, and a taxi driver. Those people's jobs are being threatened immediately.
So soon.
And so they can clearly see what's in their future of how a robot would take their job over. Whereas doctors and designers and engineers and other stuff, it's just not as clear. I actually don't think that anyone's safe. But I just think it's just kind of an order of things, There's going to be jobs number 1 that gets taken, and job number 100, and then job 1,000,000.
Yeah, and I think there's some jobs that are very far away still.
Yeah,
and I think those types of jobs are actually ones where really the job is you being a human being.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
A doctor won't be the same thing a doctor is now necessarily. Because the doctor right now is expected to be a knowledge base. Yeah. Where in the future, the doctor doesn't need to be the knowledge base.
Right.
He has to be the person who can actually kind of communicate to the patient well. Yeah. Kind of like a Neil deGrasse Tyson or Carl Sagan of a doctor, where it's like you might not be the best scientist or best doctor, but you're really good at talking with people and explaining the situation to them.
You're an usher to the process.
Yeah, like the machines are the ones who know because they have all the
they're the ones that fact check
they
data.
Scan you, they inject you, they do everything that needs to be done. But then
the doctor's there to like let you know, and it's gonna be okay. And that's where we're
right.
And I mean, obviously it feels, it does feel a little creepy to think if I just went and laid down in a room and there was no humans around, and then robots start doing all this shit to me. That'd be pretty intense. And so I think like doctors or nurses, they'll probably put you out for
even just for the psychological side of it, just because people won't be comfortable with what you said for quite a long time.
Once I'm out, those robots can do whatever the fuck they want to me,
Yeah.
But I would like a human to be there and tell them.
Then imagine over like the speaker comm, voices of robots will be so good nowadays. You're gonna question: is it really a human on the other side, or is it really a robot? But then obviously, if they come in the room, you know.
You get Scarlett Johansson's voice just talking to you as you're getting put to sleep.
Right? They just put like little earplugs in, and then bam.
And I do think, eventually I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, humans are going to get more comfortable with robots and things. And I don't really think it's going to be like we're going to have like robots walking around our homes all that soon. I mean, some people will, but I don't think most people will all that soon. But with different technologies, like in VR, for example, we're starting to see robots in first person. And so we're going to get very comfortable with these things and feel comfortable with them like in the way you are comfortable with a human being. So eventually I wouldn't be surprised with a robot in a hospital actually being there for you. And you actually trusting it with your well-being.
Even like Amazon's Alexa, and the Echo.
Yeah, that's right.
The Echo, rather. I feel like I really want that thing, and it's the first robot I feel like I'm ever going to live with. You're going to, by the time you walk out the door, you could be like, Alexa, what's the weather going to be like today? And then you could know if you got to grab a coat or, whatever it is. So to me, that's the first one that's at least going to be in the house and learns, and it's always upgrading and learning everything.
Yeah.
And I see the kind of the first implementations of robots in people's homes being something kind of like I like the Asimo a lot. Something like an Asimo, something cute, something shorter than you specifically. It actually matters. You don't want a robot looking at you at eye level.
Yeah.
Dude, terrifying.
Yeah, and I think kind of like the the Echo. In a way, I think the first implementations will serve similar purposes, meaning like it won't be nearly as useful as you want it to be. Mm-hmm. It'll talk nice to you. It'll write your shopping list nice for you.
Yeah, very basic
It'll pick stuff up you drop. It'll clean up after your kids' Legos or something like that. But it'll be many years before they're really kind of. I mean, it'll be cute for a long time.
The thing though about Alexa, the Amazon Echo, is that it's just hardware. And it's the software that's really growing.
Right.
And it's growing very fast.
Absolutely.
And so the hardware is basically doing all it needs to. Mm-hmm. It's recording, it's listening to you.
Yeah, it's just listening.
And that's really all it needs to do. And then it's all about the AI behind the scenes. And that is growing like every day. All that kind of stuff. I mean, even with like Google Now, if you use that like 2 years ago or a year ago even, and you use it today, it's a whole different process. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I don't have obviously the Echo, but I have my phone, and it's similar in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. It's really just it's an intelligent type of system that helps you access knowledge.
The internet,
like your first Asimo could trip over your cat all the time.
Yeah.
But by a year later, after plenty of software updates and people complaining about it tripping over their cats, it can easily work with your cat.
And all of them are probably all sending data to the mother,
the mothership,
and so all the homes that's experiencing all these situations and it's learning so much. Really, I mean that's the truth though. The internet is humanity is already almost a hive mind in a lot of ways.
With the internet,
exactly.
It's like a collective memory. I mean, we create things that'll literally never go away.
Exactly.
Because of this thing we've created.
And it's our AI systems that are actually we use to access the internet and the knowledge on the internet is actually pretty good at kind of deciphering bullshit from non-bullshit.
Yeah.
And so it's just, in a lot of ways, it's like my Google Now is already more intelligent than most people.
No, absolutely.
When I ask it a question, at least it knows where to find the answer.
I know.
They don't just make it up on the spot.
I know. And aren't memory and recalling information actually going down because everyone can just ask their phone?
I mean, it makes sense, honestly.
Yeah.
And really, the whole thing about knowledge isn't really a huge side of intelligence. Mm-hmm. As long as you have access to the knowledge at all times, whether or not it's actually in your brain or if it's on the computer screen.
It's how you apply it.
It's how you apply it and what questions to ask. It's like the skill of finding answers is actually more important now than holding all this knowledge. I mean, because I know so many people who are just so knowledgeable about things. But really, they don't really have any. It's that's where all the energy is put. Is just being knowledgeable rather than actually being intelligent.
Yeah.
And this is one of the clear parts where our system is lagged behind times. Not that you can reasonably expect it to somehow be up with the times because it's all happened so fast. Mm-hmm. But at a certain point, our education system has got to make a change for recognizing that having a computer in your pocket is a figment of being a human.
Yeah, exactly.
And in this future world, people who are borderline homeless or even homeless will still find ways to get access to smartphones because of how it will enable them. I mean, you can it can help you find food. It can help you communicate with other people, find your way through the city and stuff like that. And it's literally a survival tool in our super modern world, and it's only going to get deeper. It's only going to get deeper.
And I think that even goes back to even remember calculators. Like I remember, okay, I understand learning math to an extent.
Totally. Yeah.
But I don't even know how to use a good calculator, like all those function signs, because I wasn't allowed to use calculators in math.
Me too.
And it's nowadays, I'm not going to waste all my mental energy to solve some quick little math problem. Yeah. Where if I would have been taught how to use a calculator to solve it, I would have been good at math because I would have been.
And I remember being in like third grade and just thinking like, why do I have to add these? If only I had a calculator. You know, the teacher would have a calculator checking all the answers. I'm like, those cheaters. Like, why do I need to know how to add?
Yeah,
but and I do understand how you do need to know how to add.
Extent,
you do. But there is a cutoff point where where you need to be more versed with the tools for solving problems and not just making it all happen in your head.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Do you think maybe schooling will actually go down? You know, we go through 12 years of schooling. Maybe it'll actually be cut down to perhaps 8.
I honestly don't think the school should be cut down at all. I think it should be the same amount, but I really think it needs to be readjusted for sure. And I think it shouldn't be just here's knowledge, just absorb knowledge. It should just be a factor of how teaching people how to think critical, you know?
Yeah.
Because computers, they're going to be doing all that shit.
I feel like, the best, knowledge or when you do learn that stuff is when you're on your own and not towards college, but those years of, in your early 20s. Maybe it is just schooling in general that needs to be readjusted, but.
I think it kind of needs to be reinvented. You asked how long are we going to put people in school for less? I don't even know. We might even be putting them in for longer. I feel like the way school is going, it has to do more with kind of chaperoning people through life, and it has a lot to do with how old they are as to what we should be teaching them. Because it's pretty much expected that we try and push everyone in our society into college. If that is something that we're going to say, okay, everyone does college, period, then it's all about what you do for people at that time in their life. What do we do for 18-year-olds? What do we do for 13-year-olds? What do we teach them about? At a certain point, the fact that we don't teach our kids or young adults about finance, ridiculous. Why do we do that? Mm-hmm. That should be a major thing where it's where that's all we teach them about for a year or two or something. And other subjects too. I think social skills should be a major thing. Right. Where we just teach people just really hard, try and make them get along and make it a thing.
Yeah, maybe just the knowledge, like you're saying, about who, 1942. No. 1492 is when Columbus sailed the ocean blue. That kind of stuff doesn't matter anymore.
Oh no, no.
You don't need to know that.
Oh the little factoid.
Yeah, little factoids don't know. But you're right that the social stuff and all that, those things really, really, help you as a human being and cope with everything that life is going to throw at you.
I remember in 5th grade, I had a teacher, Miss Maury, and she actually did a thing in class where we actually went through election process, and we had and this is in 5th grade. It wasn't high school president, but we had a president in the class. We had I was the president of the treasury in the class, and we actually had all these responsibilities throughout the entire year. And we actually had things called Maury money, and we had a whole economy. And honestly,
spend it all on candy.
Well, okay, so I was a corrupt politician. I stole so much money from the treasury. But here's where it kicked my ass: is on the last day or the last day of the quarter when we made here's the day we get to spend all of our money we had. I was way too rich. It was so obvious that I stole all the money. Yeah. And so I had to underbid on everything, and I only won a few things because I didn't want to get caught for stealing all the money.
Oh my God.
That'll teach me. So I learned a lot. Is what I'm saying in 5th grade. About life and shit.
Way to teach. Yeah, that seems pretty heavy for 5th graders.
Oh man, I ran for vice president and I lost, and so I was bitter.
There was your political career right there.
Yeah, that was my political career. But yeah. So I totally think that kind of schooling is actually really powerful. And honestly, it was fun. It was a blast, and that's what I liked about her. And I think more schools should be done like that because, first, especially when you're kids, life shouldn't be so brutal. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I remember remember in certain grades of school, not all grades of school, just being so why am I so miserable right now?
Yeah,
you know?
why do you have to put up with this?
Yeah, exactly. So school just needs to be a little, and now I can learn so much because there's so many fun types of education available.
Yeah.
Especially when it's you get to choose to learn these things.
And especially with all this technology nowadays, you get so many cool visuals, whether it's just from CG artists, it's not the real thing. But just all those cool imagery, and now with VR is eventually going to be implemented in schools once it becomes so low cost. It's so cool. What a cool time to learn,
And hopefully these teachers are understanding that, they're actually keeping this. Because honestly, I think one of the most important things we need to teach kids and not even teach kids, but make sure that is being done for kids is mental health.
Yeah.
Because the robots, robots are gonna be doing so much shit. They're gonna be doing all these stupid, shitty jobs that kids normally did, or people normally did, and we just need to make sure that since we have all these humans, that they're mentally healthy.
Yeah. Do you think
schooling can be powerful that way?
Yeah. Do you think robots would actually cope with a friend? Being instead of an imaginary friend, you actually have a friend to throw a ball with,
a robotic friend.
Yeah, you can have the robot will actually cope.
We have dogs.
When you
I don't. See
but a dog doesn't really.
No, but
I'm saying if we could grow to love a dog the way that we do, I think we could totally feel that way towards a robot, especially if a robot can talk to you and be legit. Because I'm sorry, a dog isn't instant intelligent, but you do feel such a connection with dogs,
absolutely.
So, and I think it'd be totally possible with a robot.
And you look at the way people fall in love with characters.
My robot friend,
and think about that character never really sits down and talks to them, but all it needs is a visual and something behind it.
Yeah,
the character
absolutely.
it needs and imagine if when we have just more engaging technology, more intelligent technology in the future, when these characters can know your name and say things to you and
say it back,
and it's not even a famous character that everyone loves from a movie. It's just your special character. It's no one else has this character.
Building your own robot, you can paint him and stuff.
Your own best friend.
Oh, dude, it'd be so
funny.
cool.
That's so weird.
I do think to a certain degree people will, but at the same time, there's always going to be real people in their life. So
I also have a hard time believing that many people are going to have these physical robotic things because the human population is getting so big.
Yeah.
If everybody starts, because we have cell phones, everybody has a cell phone, but cell phone's pretty small. Imagine everybody has this robot to hang out with all the time now. Sure. You're walking down the street, it's you and your robot.
You have too much metal. And it's just too much.
It's a big piece of hardware.
Yeah.
And
it's not for everyone. I think more I look at them more as a family will have an Asimo, like a family has a dog.
And I think industrial is going to have a lot of hotels and things like that are going to have Asims all over the place.
You're thinking more everyone's going to have in the Her movie where it's just pretty much a cell phone and a wire.
I think that's how most of it's going to be, but then there's also the virtual side, of course, where I think the virtual world is there's a lot of things in the real world that we always want. We want the robots, we want the jetpacks, we want the flying cars. All these things I think are things that are going to eventually be commonplace in a virtual space, because AI will an AI robot in a virtual space could be more physically capable than a robot in the real world. Well, because there's no batteries. I'm just saying it's sooner.
Yeah.
Imagine all the metal we're going to save when we go, fully automated cars, because there won't be as many accidents. There won't be, we can build.
Think about how many lives we'll save. That's all I can think about, honestly.
Bigger,
absolutely.
So
we'll be able to make semis that would normally be really dangerous.
Yeah, we could just make a massive. So anyway, I was thinking, that saves a lot of metal, and you're right. We probably won't all have a buddy robot, but I was just thinking about that. All that metal will be saved, and again, one less job to do.
But I actually do think that there's a lot of potential for people, a lot of people to have a digital buddy robot. It's one thing to have physical buddy robot. I don't think you need it to sit down next to you and put your arm around it or something like that. But I think what a lot of people will be looking for in the not too distant future will be a digital buddy. And what I mean by this is maybe less of a buddy, more of a life coach. Actually, I think just like how people like to not stuff facts in their head and instead just go to Google and check it real quick. Yeah. In a similar way, and by extension of it, I think people will want to have a super intelligent robot help them make decisions. I mean, honestly, and help them figure out what to do.
Once we have AR, like when we have like glasses that we put on, and we have like these things projected. I could totally see us having like an earplug in, like a her style thing, but with an AR glasses where you actually have a physical representation of the artificial intelligence, like cool. Robotics thing, and that so you be in your room like working on something, you'd be like, hey, what do you think about like this? Yeah, and the robot would actually come back with like an educated opinion, and it would be an AI, obviously an AR.
And like it's really it's for you, so it's really it's catering to your brain. So for example, you might say to your let's just say buddy, let's just say, hey buddy, like what do you think of pizza tonight? And he might say, you've had pizza for 3 nights in a row, let's eat let's eat
like every setting you're like trying to lose weight setting.
Well, no, exactly.
He'd be like, dude, did you have pizza last night? I think you should take it easy.
Versus maybe you ask a different maybe you ask a different question, and maybe like a cuter character like a Pikachu that you have a different type of relationship with is the response to it, because you're talking about playful things or entertainment, and your cute little fuzzy guy comes flying around to talk to you when you ask that question. It could be nebulous, do you know what I mean? Or maybe it's always Bob.
God shows up whenever you
Morgan Freeman, question. Jackie Chan, he can guide me through my life.
My buddy robot looks like God. Well, I'm sorry, bud. How'd you know that? I know you got a good image of him.
Oh my God, think about if you had one where it's like an 8-year-old version of you. Dude. So whenever you're like slacking, he's like, "Come on, man, we had bigger plans than this."
Oh my God,
that's terrible.
No. That is creepy. And also sort of awesome.
Motivation, man, motivation.
Okay, could you?
It's like, this is not what I was expecting. Come on, come on.
Oh man,
you disappoint me, future self.
or an older version of yourself. He like comes in from the shadows. He's like, "Don't disappoint."
Yeah, he's like homeless or something. You're like, "Can't be homeless. Can't be homeless. Gotta strive harder."
If you eat that hamburger, you're gonna end up like me.
He's like, one hamburger did it, and you're like, which one was it? Was it this hamburger? Was it the robotic hamburger that Carl's Jr. just fed me? But wait, could you ever touch AR? Is there any way to like?
Nothing.
Not that we really know of right now.
Not yet. You can't like give it a.
Nope.
But I have faith for a lot of these really crazy things.
But since we threw it out there in the universe, someone's going to invent it.
We have to remember, though, like, I mean, someone will. I think, honestly, it will happen eventually. I think and
thank you for that person in the future.
Pain. I know. Thank you very much. Pain and like sense and touch and all that kind of stuff is subjective signals.
Sure.
So it's like you don't actually need to be touching things.
But just like a high five would be awesome.
Because like, when you touch a wall and you push on a wall, I mean, obviously there's times where physically, you could push yourself away. But like you don't push hard enough to hurt yourself because your body stops you from doing a lot of that stuff, And so you don't actually need these physical things. And so I think you could stimulate your nerve system enough to feel like you're touching things until it comes to a point of like, things that are physically impossible.
Isn't that the most important sense? Is touch?
Or is it the most important?
Or is it sight?
What do you mean by most important?
Just like, okay, so let's say to trick our brains. Obviously we can trick our brains visually, and we're doing that with VR.
I mean, it's an important one. I would consider all senses definitely necessary to finish the human experience.
Like the least.
I think sight and touch. I mean, obviously, I do think
there's senses that we tend to value a little bit more, but even things like your smell, you just don't think about it as much, but it has a really strong effect on your psyche. If you've ever been surprised by smells kind of coming your way, and it just sucks you in like way back into the past, kind of in a really
sometimes
kind of
a certain smell will take me back to when I was young.
But in a very strong way.
How come I can never identify where it's coming from?
And smells particularly have that ability in a way that some of your other senses don't are not as easily take you over like that. They're a little number because you're using them so much.
Well, I'm just thinking about like like let's say you have a robot friend or whatever, wouldn't you miss touching him or like you said, giving him a high five?
Yeah.
But maybe that wouldn't
Yes
really
and no,
matter.
because-
Or
as
smelling
much.
him.
I mean,
his
smelling him.
hydraulic fluid leaking.
You smell like
Okay,
oil.
I'll say yes and no because yeah, touch is obviously a very important thing. But like with a lot of your friends, you hardly ever touch them.
Yeah,
Like when was the last time that I've actually even touched either of you?
I know.
When we did a speeding chest bump after you bought the Vive.
That's in the future though. Speeding chest bump.
Full speed running chest bump. You don't remember that?
I know, seriously.
So you know what I'm saying? Like I mean, honestly, having a robotic friend would be kind of I could see how it could be kind of cool and like I mean not a robotic friend but an AR friend.
Yeah.
Without having touch, but. Obviously, touch is something that people, is an important side of humanity. So it'd be a nice thing to figure out. But
Yeah.
I think we'll do what we can. I mean, for a while touch won't be a part of that, and we'll work around it. We won't make characters try and high five you for a long time until we start to figure out kind of what.
Right.
you can high five those like dead aliens though already. So
and like we said, someone will eventually invent it, or something new will come across.
like I think there'll be steps. Like
Yeah.
slowly we'll start to have these different ways of implementing like
Yeah.
physical interaction. Like it might just be like really rough at first.
Yeah.
Like you big arm rigs that kind of resist you. So like if you punch something, you'd actually feel like a resistance. But probably nothing like subtle like touch and real kind of human contact.
Just it's just gonna be a really, really cool world. And it's coming around the corner. It's just something we all have to prepare for. Whether it's a good side or a bad side.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna. Exactly. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be interesting. I'm excited to see what happens with it.
Right.
Hopefully, it ends up being the good version of the AI feature, not the bad version of the AI feature.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get my own personal Asimo and just have him fetch all day long.
And then just kick them.
I just throw frisbees all day long and just keep
do you
picking them
think-
up and bringing them back to me.
Do you think we'd ever go too far, like the industrial age and like robots and everything, that we actually just say like this is honestly messed up? Like there's no jobs, there's somehow no food, and like.
Well, yes,
It's
but
only
for
rich-
good,
and then we
not
can
in a
actually
bad
go
way.
backwards. Like
No, I mean, I think like it's inevitable that we push this as far as we can, and I think some bad things will happen, but only temporarily.
Growing pains.
Yeah, growing pains. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it will force us into
that's a good
a
saying.
new a new epic. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
really the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for, but kind of a new age of post work. A human society where the concept of having to work just so that you can eat there will be a line in our history where
Yeah.
we draw where it's kind of well we used to do that but we don't anymore because of
Yeah.
how it now works. It's so people's place in society will have a different meaning.
Yeah, definitely.
People's value will shift, and it'll be a tough transition. I think. I mean, no one can really describe it yet until these
absolutely not.
robots are in full force taking all the jobs.
I know.
But it will eventually, when we get to that other side. I mean, from our perspective, it's almost like a heaven.
Yeah.
That's how much
Yeah.
better it will be. I mean, the concept of like nobody works for no matter what.
Like people are
It'll be
actually
a real
free
thing.
to like
Yeah.
follow their
Hard,
passions.
serve.
Yeah, exactly.
Do
Like,
whatever you
it's-
want.
I mean,
man.
because I definitely hope that we grow as a society and that we still have a motivation to live.
Yeah.
Like actually, not just sit around and waste away.
Yeah.
But it is a super hard topic. I mean, not even the politicians are talking about it, and I get it. It is like it can be a little dark, for people to not believe, but
Yeah.
to take in.
And all of our politicians are old people, and so they don't actually, I get why they don't see it the same way that the
Yeah.
younger people do.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I really do think it's a little too early. It's too early to bring it up
Yeah,
because
yeah, it
because
is
it's so early that all you get to is these kind of scary dead ends.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
What I was saying.
There's no real light yet at the end of the tunnel, so it's hard to bring it up.
It's just too bad too because it's always important for us to like bring things up early.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it seems like climate change and stuff. Like it was brought up a long time ago, and it was considered by a lot of people like a hoax, or like fraud for a long time. And then now we're like, okay, we're right.
Yeah.
it is happening. Whoops. But we already knew. But that's unfortunately that's how we are. We're
Yeah.
kind of like. And I agree, like, it's too early to even try to convince people that this is a concern. But I do believe it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, already happening.
Things happen so fast today. It's like I mean, we're looking at the possibility of just within a generation or two, just major life changes for everyone. It's tough.
It's like, like the huge places already deal with this, like farming in America. Like, there was this whole ad campaign, it's like, something like he's a farmer, it's like, I'm a farmer. It was like, it was a couple years ago, and it was such bullshit.
Those aren't farming hands.
Oh man. And if you go to a real farm nowadays, it's like one dude and big ass machines.
Massive machines, absolutely.
Just huge. It's like, it used to be a lot of people out there trying to deal with a giant field. It's like one guy owned a farm that was one field, and he had his cow and he plowed it, and then all these other farmers also did it. And now it's like one guy does all of it.
And now they're already having they've employed effective farming drones.
Absolutely.
That will tend to specific plants. They'll root them out of the ground. They'll plant new seeds. They'll do them to individual problem areas throughout the cropping field. Let alone doing them to huge sweeps of fields.
And Interstellar sort of did it, visualized it for a lot of people, where he had the automated tractors, they just
that's right,
and they followed the GPS, and they obviously you just set up a grid. It's really not hard. I can imagine it. I don't know how to program it, but it's very easy, on paper.
And when you get into the little bit more hands-on-y, if you will, hands-on types of things, drones are so ready to handle all that stuff.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Like, I get how you can't build a robot to necessarily pick up a potato and put it in a sack, but you can have drones pick up all sorts of potatoes and put them in trucks.
It's like you watch the footage of how like they farm like apples and potatoes and shit, all that kind of stuff, and they're not even gentle. I always thought that you had to like pick them, all gently. You just go and you shake that shit.
Yeah, exactly, dude. They just shake it.
It's like, and then for the potatoes, they just dig that shit up. Like they just like throw it, and it's like, if it doesn't, robots will have no problem. Totally doing all that for sure. I mean, and like you're saying, they can even plant the seeds, which is actually like impressive,
Which used to have to be a more careful thing, at least, but now the drones can do it carefully.
And it's just because it's like really it's such a simple task. It's just a physical task, So of course, and that's just like, and robots are getting so much more and more intelligent, and they're already taking over most. It really just shows that most jobs we've had throughout the years are actually really simple. They're really fucking easy to do, and those are the ones that the robots are going to be taking really early on. And I mean, honestly, robots could probably already start taking a lot more complex jobs. We're just slow to adaptation.
Well, it's funny because robots actually take over things that are complex to us, like huge mathematical stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
But then the opposite end are really, really hard to design. Like you're saying, pick up the blue ball and put it in the blue square. It's hard to.
That's a super expensive robot. That's an insanely expensive robot.
But at the same time, it's a toddler could do that. As a human. But for then again, a toddler, quote unquote, computer could also calculate the universe of how big it is. It's just insane. You just do the mathematical equation and just plug in some numbers, and it does it instantaneously. But it is funny how things are so simple to us are insanely complex to a robot, and obviously vice versa.
And it's really interesting about that. It's actually all the stuff that a robot's not as good at as humans is stuff that we don't even have to learn, really. It's like all stuff that comes naturally, like throwing a ball, picking up a red ball, blue ball. Like, we know the difference between a red ball and a blue ball from the day of our birth.
Like our earliest memories of life, it's already in our brain.
Like blue or red. It's like
you don't even remember learning it.
Like catching a ball, balancing. It's all these things are like things that evolution gave us. All the stuff that like we humans, do that's special, like math. At that point, computers are like, come on, you guys. I mean, it makes sense too, because computers are us making that thing, that nature never did. I mean, nature never made computers in that kind of same fashion. We're the best computers, nature's ever made, and we're actually pretty bad at a lot of that kind of stuff.
I know.
So I do think there will be a bit of an acceleration to this process where it'll feel like it's getting out of control, for better or for worse. I think this thing will move forward in an accelerating kind of fashion, and especially when AI comes up on the scene too.
Once we
no one really knows what's going to happen when that happens. But I think most people agree that it's going to change the path of humanity.
Look at it right now. Like we're getting virtual reality headset soon. Now replace that with like we got our pre-orders in for the new robot, household
the new
robot.
AI.
Yeah, the new AI, the AI 1000 or something stupid, and it just again, this hype would be insanely huge. Like for virtual reality, it is huge, and it's going to change everything, and it is, but you can't even compare that to like easy household affordable AI
because AI is like making humans pointless.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, in a weird, extreme kind of way.
Exactly. It's like once we have something that's better than us,
better than our own brains. That's basically what we were doing.
And then of course we're going to go to the opposite way. Once we get so good at robots, we're going to say screw these bodies. I just want to transfer over.
Oh, I mean, people will want that. They'll want what the computers have for sure. I mean.
Which actually, I think that's a weirder thought. It's easy to digest when first thrown at you in that sci-fi sense, kind of like Matrix, pretty much.
Sure, yeah.
But if you give it a little bit more thought, it becomes a really kind of circular and odd. And I think here's where I'm getting to. It's hard to imagine what we would actually go with that. Because if you want to transfer your consciousness out of your body immediately, part of our experience of life is directly connected to our body. It's why we like the taste of food. It's why we like running around and kicking a ball. And when you take yourself out of that, either you have the choice of breaking those boundaries and being something else, or playing some game where you pretend to be a human still.
Like it replicates the same
So like once you get in the computer, and this might be the way it works for psychological safety kind of for humans. It's like once you get in this digital domain, the rules are you're tricked into thinking you're still always a human with 5 fingers and toes, and because of the psychological bounds that you need to work within.
I could see that being kind of like the first, like you would enter the digital realm and it would be a replication of this world.
Yeah.
But I could also see it suddenly being like, oh, and by the way, you can modify yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you can be like, oh, I wonder what it feels like to have like tentacle hand.
Sure, yeah.
And your hand turns into a big tentacle.
Yeah, and
and you're like,
can have fun with it or entertain yourself or something.
And like be able to feel it, understand like how to control like that new appendage.
Yeah.
So here's where I'll go with that. This is where the limitations thing.
Tentacle.
The limitations play a big role, because while that seems fun to us, like how we play video games now, we put that on a timeline of potential eternity.
Yeah.
Sure.
You'll have maybe a few years of like, I like doing this morphing and stuff, but I think will there be some inevitable dead end where all humans end up going into some kind of meditative state because they're all there for eternity, and so we're not interested in like playing shoot 'em up games or flying around in the old world we were from?
I think memory is a big part of that.
Yeah, where do babies come from? Do we start procreating? Do we stop once we go in there?
Well, okay, so this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you go, your natural birth like we do now, and then you go up to about to your death, and you can.
So this is like man-made heaven.
It's like it's like a writing a will. You can either choose to die naturally, or you can choose to go into a robot. And then potentially you could live forever, I guess, or you can also choose to get unplugged, Yeah.
I mean, I know what you're saying, though, because like obviously you live forever and you experience everything.
Yeah.
Eventually you're going to be like bored.
That Dr. Manhattan type of situation in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
How his power messes with his brain.
But
he understood everything, and so he had no reason to really care about much.
Okay, that's true. I just feel like there's no like exhaustion at that point. Like right now I'm exhausted. Like I gotta go to work. I gotta cook food. I gotta eat.
Exactly. Exhaustion's the only negative thing, really.
That's what you don't
the real
have
negative thing,
being in a robot. And then I think it would be fun. But you're right. There's no like. I don't know how crazy robots are at this, but like you can't feel water anymore. You like feel the ocean, and
You could I feel like you could literally just say you know what, I don't want to remember seeing this movie. And then you'd be like, and then you have no memory of seeing that movie, and so you can watch it for the first time again.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. I think that's something that could really be powerful, and it could make you want to live forever. Because, if you could be like, I want to experience, because if you go to a roller coaster, you're like, after the sixth time, you're like, it's kind of boring.
So erase my memory. Well, let me go far deeper into this thought. Okay, so you've got this. You're like, all right, that I missed the time where we're seeing a movie for the first time was novel. So erase my memory of it so I can go back to this time where this experience was novel. So, and you start getting that experience again. You're watching this movie, you've never thought it before, it's novel. How granular of an experience, like how small of a slice are you looking for when you do that? What I mean is, like, you're chasing the experience of novel, like, wow. Yeah. Do you even need the movie? Can you tell the program to just flood my brain with the feeling of being novel?
No, I see what you're saying.
You see what I mean?
It's almost like, what's more fun, going to see him, like, doing heroin, because it's basically...
Yeah, we're getting back into this
like
place.
The injection of... the one thing, and remember those rats? They did like an experiment with rats, and they showed like rats that are actually like socially comfortable and socially happy actually don't find heroin and don't continue doing heroin.
Yeah.
But rats that are depressed and lonely will continue doing heroin. And so it makes me wonder, like, maybe that whole like super bliss thing is for some people. Maybe some people will find that, and will be the rest of their eternity. It will be this super high.
It's whichever moment they seek the most, and they'll kind of condense it and like put it on an eternal repeat. And it sounds a little insane when you explain it like that. But I mean, what's inevitably stopping people from doing this in these digital worlds? If it's for us to manipulate, that's where I get back to how hard will our rules be? Because you have the potential of I mean. You're are you driving people insane, or are you giving them what they want? Who knows?
No, I was thinking about that too. Yeah.
How do you know that brain is okay?
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking about that. Like, maybe you do go insane and you're like, this is so crazy. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And you somehow kill yourself, or you
shut the program off.
I think that you always have the right to end it. I think you should.
But I feel like that would probably naturally happen. And then you were thinking about it, talking about the testing in the beginning. Like, would this be normal? Would people go psychologically distressed? Maybe there's just a test that we go for like 30 or 50 years and we realize people can't actually transfer consciousness. It just proves to happen time and time again. That
let's say people do eventually shut off, just in not an insane way, just like how everyone dies. People eventually shut off from this post-digital life we create. Well, so the experience of time inside that, we don't know. Maybe it's dilated heavily. So 1 second in the digital world is actually like millions of years for them. So we put people in these digital worlds, and it seems like after every half second, they shut themselves off because they've done the whole deal. They've done every scenario that's entertained them. They've done all the weird things they could possibly think of, and they're like, all right, cool, I'm good, I'm out. But because of the way they experience time from the outside, it happens in like half a second. So we think these people are like
just dying,
just going.
Yeah.
But they're actually going through the whole process, and like they've whatever. It's a 1,000,000-year journey before the average person says, "All right, time to."
I mean, people experience or say death is sort of like that. It could just pass to an outsider very fast, and then to the person actually passing away,
like their brain can be experiencing a lot.
Long time, yeah.
Yeah, I mean
it's heavy stuff.
It's a really weird, idea.
Yep.
The more and more I think about it, it's actually where I'm like, I don't know if this is something that I just don't know.
Yeah, part of me is like, damn, I really wish I could live there and get to that point and try and experience it. And then the other half is like, this is fun as well. This is really cool. We're here for a certain amount of time, and that's it. And whatever happens, wherever we get to, the world is changing, technology is changing, but who knows where. I mean, do people who lived 100 years lived the craziest fucking 100 years I can imagine? 100 years ago, you were like, I don't even know what you were doing. Like, still farming, I guess. I know we're still farming now, but I mean,
there were a lot of farmers.
There was insane. So. It was just so different than when they were, and then now, grandparents and everything have cell phones and technology, and people have experienced VR and like.
And my mom watching movies on her little tablet, her little sci-fi tablet.
And grandparents experiencing Nintendo Wii was just insane. That you're waving a controller and you're all of a sudden bowling. It's just insane.
No, absolutely, it's going crazy fast, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. I mean, and by the time we're all reaching the end,
I just hope by the time I die, I can be carried around on Asimos. I want a bunch of 2-3 foot tall Eskimos to carry me around my house, make me pina coladas, wipe my bum. That would be the best part.
That's important, actually. Yeah, when you're old, having that awesome wiping your bum. Yeah, for sure.
And I'll teach them to thank me for it too. That'll be the best part. He'll wipe my butt and it'll be like, "Thank you,
I feel like
Sir Donovan."
I am honored.
we might have to reinvent toilets at that point.
Sir Lord. I'll have him call me all these cool like.
The royal penis is clean.
All right, guys, there you have it. We responded to the emails. We did out number 2. And,
Robots part 2.
Just keep out for part 3. Oh shit! I did it.
Oh yeah, but you never know. We left with all these questions.
Yeah.
You have to come back.
Yeah, we've left
continued.
more questions than
It's
answers.
like, will AI be fun or not?
Or will all it will do is wipe your butt for you?
Yeah. Hey,
That's the end of AI.
Find out.
I'm
Find
hoping
out.
for the latter.
Part 3.
All right. Peace.
See ya.